Hello, everyone. How you doing today? My name is Nikki, and today I'm going to talk about my spiritual journey. I'm going to start off with when I was growing up, how things were for me, and I'm going to post a video also that kind of like sums everything up. But I just want to talk about a little bit of what it was like growing up for me. So, when I was about maybe uh, 8 or 9 years old, I had a demonic spirit used to come and talk to me all the time. And it used to always tell me that I'm going to work for them when I grow up. That I'm a witch. When I grow up, I'm going to be able to do certain things. Um, and most the things that it used to say that my mom didn't love me. My childhood was like a little rough, what I went through, and I will talk about that a little later, but this here, I just want to talk about what transpired as I got older. So this demonic spirit, used to, like I said, told me I was going to be a witch. I was going to work with them one day, and how my mom didn't love me, and how I was just rejected by my family. And I used to tell my mom that this entity used to tell me to do bad things. So she had the house blessed. And I felt like after that, I felt like I was separated from my brothers and sisters. I was kind of looked at differently because of that. And during the course of the years, it just grew, it grew with conversations with me. But after a while, it faded. I guess once I got into my teenage years, it just faded away. Um, when my grandmother passed away, that's when I first knew about my gift that I had. When my grandmother passed away, I was actually sitting on a bed, and I got this really strange feeling. And when I looked up, there was my grandmother, and I automatically knew my grandmother had passed away. And prior to that day, my grandmother was my grandmother. It's my father's mom. She was always sick, and the last time I seen my grandmother, she said to me goodbye. And my grandmother never tells me goodbye. She never say goodbye. And that particular day, she said goodbye, and that was the last time. That was the last time I seen her. So when she passed away, I knew it. So during that time, I went to the payphone. I called, her house line, and I asked. I forgot who picked up the phone. One of my uncles, and I said, "Grandma did," and nobody didn't want to tell me. And I think they gave the phone to my grandfather, and I said, "Granddad, she's gone." He said, "Yeah," and I lost it, and that devastated me. And then I had another spiritual moment that, I'm sorry, I have a dog in the background. She's snoring. She's tired. So I experienced another one. My first boyfriend, when he was actually murdered. Before he was murdered, um, it used to be a black figure that used to sit at the end of the hallway. And at first it used to scare me. But after a while, I just got used to it. It just stand in the hallway. Every time I open up the door, close the door, it's just right there. And I just was like, okay, whatever. And one day, him and I was actually laying in the bed, and I had one of my moments, and I actually pictured him dying, the door shutting on me, him in his casket, and everything. And I told him, I said, "You gonna die." And he looked at me, and he said, "I'm not going nowhere." And I said, "I hope not." I said, "Because I see it." I said, "I'm going to be the last person that you see." And that's surely, he actually got shot up. And I was at the hospital, and they rushed him to the ER. I ran in the back. And as those doors were shutting, him and I made eye contact. And I was the last person that he known to see. And when he died, I also seen him. He also came to me, and I called the hospital and I asked for him. And I said, he's gone. And they said, yes, he is. And I didn't experience anything like weird after that. I always felt like something was always on me growing up. And I used to go to church. I got baptized. I did all of that. But somehow I ran to like the candle shops and I started getting like Run Devil Run candles. I started saging my house. I was trying to do anything to keep this off me because I never really deeped into it. I just knew something was on me. And I noticed that like my life, things in my life was changing, like my finances, my money. It's just like every time I try to apply for a career, it just was like something was happening. And I'll give you an example. I applied for this police agency, and this entity told me, you're not going to get it. And I had I don't know what you want to call it, but I had one of my moments where I actually seen the rejection letter in my head. And once I actually visualized that, I actually got, it said, you're going to get the email. And I actually got the email that I was rejected. And it was like every time I try to do something, it was constantly, I could see the aftermath of me doing something. It was attacking my money, everything. And I'm just like, why is things not going good for me? And that was one time that my uncle, my mom's brother, actually passed away. And he, one day I was laying in bed, I was trying to sleep, and I kept seeing him dead on his couch. No, prior to that, I was actually just on the phone having a random conversation with my mom, and I told my mom, I said, your brother's dead on the couch. And she said, what? She didn't pay no mind. But that whole night, I kept seeing my uncle dead on the couch. It would not let me sleep. It just kept attacking me that he's dead on the couch. He's dead on the couch, and he's all the way in Las Vegas. And I remember that Monday because that was a weekend. I called Las Vegas Police Department. I said, well, can you do a wellness check? I gave them my uncle's address and everything, his name. And they like, why do you feel like we need to do a wellness check? And I couldn't say, well, I had a vision that my uncle was dead on the couch. I couldn't say that because then they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. And I just said something's not right. We've been calling him and he's not answering the phone. So an hour later, the coroner called me and she said, I'm so sorry. And I said, my uncle's dead on the couch, ain't he? And she said, yes. She said his garage door was open and they was able to get in, and it literally looked like he actually just sat down and died on the couch. And when she told me, because he just actually lost his partner, I thought maybe he might have done something. And I said, Uncle Patrick, what did you do? And he said to me, Nikki, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. And he left. And after a while, I just was like, I just can be able to I can see certain things. It can be times that I can see a deer. If a deer about to run across my car, a deer just come to my mind and I would just stop and the deer would just walk by. And that's just how my gift was. I can always just tell by certain things in my mom and them. If now that my mom and them can see it and they actually witness it, they just start going by what I say. And like I said, during the course of my life, things just wasn't going right, and I always felt this entity on me. Before my dad passed away, my dad was very sick, and I was dealing with a battle with my sister mom trying to see my dad at the hospital. She made it really, really hard for me, and I'm just going to keep it blunt. It was really, really hard. She made it really hard for me, and I can't really blame her because, my dad played a part in certain things too, as far as paperwork. Men, please, when you're dealing with women, and not saying that all women are like that. Some women don't really care about your kids, let's be honest. They're going to think about themselves. So when you in the hospital or, situations like that, please add your children on your paperwork, because you never know. You think that woman is, she's going to be supportive. She's going to be there for you. But when you're laying on your deathbed, trust me, there's a 360 in her, especially when money is going to be involved. I'm just going to be honest. And when 3 days before my dad passed away, maybe about 3 days or so, I was laying in the bed and I felt stuck. I felt I was inside my dad's body. And I'm kicking, I'm screaming, I'm yelling, I'm going crazy because I cannot move. I feel stuck and I can't breathe. And I was in my dad's body. I felt every pain that my dad felt. And I remember getting up and I said, call the hospital. My dad can't breathe. Call the hospital. And I just was panicking. And once I went out of that phase, I went into another one where someone was standing over top of me, choking me. And only thing that I can see was, I'm going to be honest with you, my sister mothers. I seen her, I seen a snake, and I seen salt. And I'm going through this motion. I'm just being choked. And then after that calmed down. And I went through another one, the third one. And the third one was, I went into an all-white place. And this place was so calm. It was so beautiful. I didn't want to leave. And I seen into beams of light, energy of lights. And those, I knew who it's hard to explain, like I knew who each one was, by, I guess, just by the feeling. Like I knew my grandmother, my uncles, like I just felt each one. But my grandmother's one, it was the powerful one. And she said, baby, it's time. I'm here to get my son. And I cried and I said, thank you, God. I was just crying because my dad was suffering. And I knew my dad was suffering. And anybody that know my dad did not want to be in that type of state. He did not. But because certain people had rights to certain things, it wasn't much that I could actually do. My dad was really suffering. And it was hard to see my dad like that. So that day, I actually, that morning, I got up after that. Well, prior to that, I called my mom, and I'm like, Ma, it's time. My grandmother told me it's time. I'm hyperventilating. I'm like, she here, Ma. And I was crying because I knew my dad was really suffering. And it was just really a lot. There was nothing I can do. And my mother was just like, calm down, nigga. It was like, it's time. Grandma here. She's going to fix it. And it was so crazy. The next day when we went to the hospital, one of the machines was actually acting. To be honest, the machines was keeping my dad alive. And one of the machines was acting up, and they had to replace that machine. But in order to replace that machine, they would have to take him off of his life support. And you know what that would have done. So she went on and made the decision for us to do it. But she wanted to wait, and I said, no, my dad can't wait. And that morning when I actually went there, because that was that afternoon, I came to my dad and I said, Daddy, I said, Grandma here. I said, you see her? And he said, yeah. He shook his head. I said, she coming to get you. And he cried and I cried. And that afternoon, my dad, they took him off the machines and my dad passed away. And I watched my dad take his last breath. And anybody that knew my dad knew that my dad, y'all see, majority of y'all is my family, so everybody knew how Neil was, what he looked like. He wouldn't have want to be in that predicament he was in. And he just looked around and he looked at all of us, and it was so hurtful. But when everybody left out that room, I was the last person to stay in that room with my dad. I was the last one. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave my father. And I wanted to do any and everything I could to just, because one of the days before my dad passed away, I told my dad was mad at me. Because I think he just did not want to be in that predicament. And I tried to explain to him that it wasn't nothing that I can do because I didn't have say so. And it it was hard. I put a lot of pressure on me when my dad died. Well, in the midst of my dad dying, and then I also found out other things that bothered me, that made me feel like I wish I could have protected my dad. But some things that I just couldn't do. So once my dad died, my spiritual attacks got really bad. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to clean up my house. I didn't want to do nothing. I just didn't want to do nothing. It just got so bad. And my sleep, I couldn't sleep. I just was attacked in my sleep. And it, like I said in the video I'm gonna post, I can't just be walking up the steps, and I feel it walking right behind me. Everywhere I went, it was walking behind me. And I know everybody gonna be like, well, why you didn't? Some people will say, why you didn't turn to God? And I had been praying, and somewhere down the line I lost my faith, and I think I lost my faith with the things I've been through in life, especially some of the things in my childhood. And I went to this guy who claimed to be a spiritual healer, which later I felt like was a witch doctor, but they call it a spiritual healer, an Indian guy. And I thought that he could help me, because I helped other people. He showed me videos of him doing his work in Africa, his family, and that they done this before. And my main thing is I just wanted to be happy. I wanted this entity off of me. I just wanted to feel like myself. I wanted to be myself. And because, to be truthfully honest, I've been going through this for so many years, since I was a little girl, and it's like, now who am I? Because I done had these in me for so long. And and you're gonna see in the video, but when I was going through that, I put my trust into a man, a demon or whatever, and not in God. And then when I remember there was one time at work. At one time I was in my car and I was screaming. I said, "Daddy, you're not here to protect me. Like, I'm being spiritually attacked. Where you at, Daddy? Where you at, God?" And I'm just like, I need help, God. I need you, Daddy. I need you. And I was at work, and I was in the bathroom, and I was in the stall, and something screamed my name like my father. It sounds so much like my father. I stepped out the stall and I looked around. I just started crying. The entities was imaging my dad. When I go back to when I was being delivered, it was very powerful. It was a very powerful experience, and I knew when the pastor was at my front door, I told my friend Sierra, because I felt him at the door. These entities was in me. They were so shook up that he was coming, and I told my friend Sierra, I said, the pastor's at the door. And he knocked on the door, and I think my body just shook. Not me, but what I had in me. And it was a lot. I plan on taking this journey and my testimony far as I can, and trying to help other people. And I'm going to share more about it day by day. But I just wanted to let some out now, because I do feel a little bit better, because I want people to be protected and, you know, warned so they won't make the same things that I make. But even if you feeling like you physically attacked or anything like that, I feel like, and I know some things because I didn't know that there was deliverance churches. I didn't know churches does this. You know, I watch it on TV, but I didn't know. And my friend Sierra, she very supportive. I love her to death. As soon as I called and I told her what's going on, she was like, whoa. She started praying. She started sending me verses. She stayed up all night finding me a pastor to help me. And she said, we're going to get help now. And that was that Sunday that I told her. That Monday morning, she called me. Are you ready? We're going to find a pastor to help you. I love her to death for that. But I'm going to dive in more and more as I do these videos about how my childhood was with my with the entities, like even down to like me watching horror movies, and I couldn't sleep unless I had a horror movie on. Like, I'm gonna really deep down into it, but right now I just wanted to share that because I kind of been isolated with my family. I actually deactivated my Facebook for a while, so I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm good now. I'm much better. I just gotta get myself together. I gotta get my lashes and everything because I have not been actually myself at all. I haven't been doing anything for these past couple of months. But I love you all, and you guys have a good night.